Hello and welcome back to another video by Crusader Valix Entertainment. Before we get into today's video, please remember to click the subscribe button to be notified of all future content. With that, let's get into today's video. If you've never played Age of Wonders or games like it before, it can feel very overwhelming at first. But fear not, Queen Saphira Goldheart and I will take you through the very basics so that you can start off on the right foot. For this video, we will assume you've never played or even seen Age of Wonders, but if you have, hopefully some of these tips will still be helpful. I've placed timestamps in the description if you would like to jump to or revisit any part of this video. The first thing I want to bring up isn't a tip, but is good information nonetheless. I'm talking about the Encyclopedia. It can be found by clicking the eye icon in the top right of the screen. This is displayed on nearly all screens within the game, so if you ever want to reference anything, it's readily available. The Encyclopedia answers most general questions about the game, so let's explore it quickly. The first tab is information about all the game concepts, so you can filter by whatever concept you'd like to know more about, and then click a topic, and then as you're reading you'll see hyperlinks that'll give you more explanation as to what that is, and then there's hyperlinks within hyperlinks. You can get pretty deep into this. The second tab is the tomes that are available throughout the game. You'll start with whatever faction you choose. We'll start with one of these tomes here, and then you'll get to choose your actual tome of magic that you start with from these tier 1 tomes. We'll get too deep into that here. Next is all of the lore concepts. If you're a lore nut, like some of my friends are, you can get lost in this pretty for a while, and so it's here if you want to understand more about the lore. Next is the cultural units. These are all the units that can be found for the various cultures. So if you choose feudal, you'll see there's archer, bannerman, defender, knight, peasant, pikeman, and scout. Now over here you can see what they look like with the different races, but nonetheless the stats all stay the same. Next, we have the various wildlife that are available to combat on the world map as you're going through your mission. Again, more statistics about them, what tier they are, just various things that you can learn, or if you have questions, this should answer them for you. Next, we have the Tome units. These are units that can be summoned as you're learning various magics from the tomes as you progress your gameplay. Again, just general stats, what type of unit they are, HP, that sort of thing. Next are the city structures. We won't spend really any time here, but just know if you have any questions about a specific structure that you're building, you can go in here and read what it does and what benefits it'll have for you. And lastly, we have a list of all the equipment that is available to your heroes throughout the game. Now, we won't spend a lot of time on this just because they're not available every mission. It's very randomized. So it's not really worth our time to go through and look at every item and say this is best and that is best. You really just have to take what you get throughout the mission and do your best with it. Now, I know you didn't come here to learn all about the Encyclopedia, so let's move into how to set up your first mission for success. For your first mission, I believe it's quickest to just jump into the game and start learning the ropes. For this, you'll want to click New Game. And although there is a beginner scenario available, I personally believe choosing Story Realm 1 Valley of Wonders is your best choice. It'll give you guided missions to progress with and should be a fine pace for any newcomer. I'd recommend choosing easy for your very first time. For the faction, the default factions are all good choices as they have good synergy with the tomes and traits that are given to them. But I would recommend scrolling down and choosing Mashara the Radiant. She starts with the Tome of Faith that has some good support and healing skills that are helpful when you're first learning. You can, however, create your own faction, but for your first mission, it's probably just simpler to choose one of the default ones. If you're not interested in creating a faction, feel free to skip ahead. Now, if you really want to create a faction, I'd recommend not spending a ton of time on your first one since you're still learning, but we can cover it pretty quickly. Go up here to create faction. You will choose your race or physical form. We'll just choose halfling. And then you'll want to choose your body trait. For this, I would recommend fast recuperation. As you can see, it gives 5 additional hit points per world map turn. As for the mind trait, adaptable is a good one. This will help your units grow stronger. And we'll cover that probably in another video, but basically units can tier up and gain hit points and some other bonuses as they battle more. Now, there is some other alternatives in here that are good. Most of these are actually pretty good, but strong is good. You get some bonus damage here, and then for your mind trait, you can go down here and choose elusive. Now, if you're like me, you have a lot of range and support characters, it can get kind of, bad when melee units come up on them because it doesn't let you attack in a melee situation with ranged characters. So you have to retreat, and then that causes the melee units to get an opportunity attack on them. So this protects a little bit against that. So we'll actually just choose that for the sake of this. And then here you'll have the culture. I personally like feudal. You'll see that your affinities are the nature and order. We won't touch on those too much right now. We'll just choose feudal for the sake of this, but you can choose whatever you want. Then you can highlight them, see what bonuses they have, and kind of dig into it from there. Again, you have these hyperlinks to the various explanations of what different things are. If you want to read them, you can. I personally like feudal. And then here you have your society traits. There are a lot of good combinations here, but keep in mind the culture that you chose, you'll have some starting affinity already. I tend to stick close to those, so I have one nature and one order. These are the order traits here. I personally like devotees of good. I tend to try to keep my city stability high, so this gains some bonuses for that. And then, so you get 2. So then I'll go down here, since I have some nature affinity as well. I like either fabled hunters or adept settlers. This is really good when you're trying to expand quickly. So just for the sake of this, we'll choose this. Here are your tomes. I personally like the Tome of Faith. You have a support unit, kind of a healer. You have a world map spell that does healing for any chosen army. You can use this every turn if you have it prepped. And then Stabs of Mending it basically gives your support units another heal. So I like the chaplain. They have healing prayer already. And then if you give them Stabs of Mending, it gives them a secondary heal to be used within the battle. So you get a lot of healing with this particular setup. So we'll choose this, and you'll notice when we choose this tome, our affinity with order has gone up. If we were to say go over to like one of these nature tomes, tomes of root, also a good option. But if we go into the nature tomes, our nature affinity goes up. This will play into some more advanced things that we probably won't get into this video. But we'll choose Tome of Faith just for the sake of this. So it'll only give you one origin type for this particular mission, which is champion. Honestly, I prefer champion over the other option. A lot of really good city bonuses, and there's an experience bonus in there as well. So we choose champion. here, you'll modify or change the appearance of your roller. The biggest thing I want to point out here is your starting equipment. You'll see some of these have this winged icon. I've unlocked these because I played some missions. I've unlocked them through a tree that we won't get into in this video, but these other ones that don't have that icon, you can choose to start with. And you can hover over, it'll say ruler starts with greatsword and fighting 1, bow, hero mount, archery 1, spirit staff, you know, it won't let me do it, but it'll start with spirit staff and the skill restore. If we wanted to, we could dive into the Encyclopedia and see what restore does if you're really curious. I personally like the sword and shield. I'm going to choose Tyrant Sword and Shield just because it has a bonus. So Sword and Shield up here just kind of gives you some stuff. Tyrant Sword and Shield only gives you the Sword and Shield, but it also gives you Intimidation Aura on your roller. I like Intimidation Aura. It does some morale decreases to the enemies, but we won't get into that. We'll keep moving. You can change the appearance of your hero, armor color, various, outfits, that sort of thing, helmet. And then you can go over here to this tab right here and you can change what your actual race looks like. You can make them, their physique different, their arms, their legs, skin color, armor color, hair color. You can change what type of mount they're riding right now. It looks like they're riding ponies. Here's full horses. Looks like a warg, maybe. Maybe that's a warg. Not really sure. Maybe there's 2 types of wargs. There's a boar and some white horses. So really just kind of modify to your heart's content. You can click the colors up here, change your colors, change your banner. This is all aesthetics. I'm just going to click select. Then we have the specifics on your ruler. You can change their title however you please. First name, last name, and the race name. You can click this little modify button right here. You can choose some pronouns here, and then the title, again, can be modified to whatever you want it to be. Makes it more inclusive, and again, first name, last name, and race name. And then when you're done, you just click onward. So I've gone ahead and changed back to Queen Saphira Goldheart. And when you start into the mission, it's going to tell you a little bit about the faction that you are, your hero, which tome you chose, the various options that you have for said faction. Click the check mark here. Here's your starting magic. We have Call to Glory and Army Heal. We spoke about this earlier. This is the first mission, or first quest rather, in this campaign. It'll say 0 of 3 units slain, and then it wants you to build a farm. And we'll get into that a little bit. So we'll just start the journey. If you want to read that, you can, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to read it to you. And then once you started the mission, and then the top left of the screen, you'll see the mission being tracked. And you can just kind of see this at a glance. At the top of the screen, you'll have several buttons for various menus from left to right. They are research, that is this purple one here. The next one we have is Empire Development. You can see it's blocked for the first 2 turns, so we'll get into that a little bit later. Here is Diplomatic Overview. As you can see, there are 3 rulers in this particular campaign. We have us, and then we have 2 unknown rulers. We'll see them, I'm sure, later on. And then if you want to check your rankings throughout the campaign, you can check these various menus here. So this is military. Here is expansion, magic, and economy. And then we have tabs for free cities and races. There's nothing here right now, and probably don't need to cover this in this video, but just know that they're there. Then the next tab is the Quest tab. This is what you'd expect. You'll see the 3 types of victory conditions for this realm. These 3 main victory conditions will be the same no matter what you play. So you can click on them, read about them. They're kind of sort of self-explanatory, I should say. A military victory is what you would think: defeat the remaining rulers. And that can be achieved through allying with one and defeating the other, or allying with both. I've yet to see where it is possible to be allies with all the rulers in a given campaign. So you have to choose an alliance and then kind of stick with it to defeat the enemy there. Expansion victory, you'll have to occupy many provinces, build 3 beacons of unity, light those beacons, and then defend them for 15 turns. The occupy provinces, I'm pretty sure, is dependent on the size of the map. This is a relatively small map, so this one is 85. I've seen one as high as 160. So I think it really just depends on the map size there. And then Magic Victory, this is probably the hardest of the 3 conditions to meet, just for the simple fact you have to wait for your Tier 3 Tome to unlock this Bind Gold Ancient Wonder spell. And then, that's not so much the hard part. The hard part is binding the Ancient Wonders. These Gold Ancient Wonders, they're pretty tough, as you would expect it being a victory condition. The AI in these Ancient Wonders, they tend to be more difficult than the actual other rulers throughout the match, because, as we'll talk about later, in these Ancient Wonders you can only attack with 1 army, versus on the world map you can attack with up to 3 armies in the same battle. So you have to really pick and choose who's going into these battles for these Ancient Wonders. And then if you do end up doing that, you have to wait until you've researched Tier 5 Tome and have researched the Age of Order spell. Then when you launch the Age of Order spell, you'll have to defend your 2 bound Ancient Wonders for 15 turns. This is just a lot. I have yet to win via this victory condition. It's, I guess, just not my playstyle, I don't think. I've done expansion victory. This is definitely unique. And then I've obviously done military victory. The key here is make a key alliance, try to stick with it the best you can, and then utilize your alliance to win. Next is the hero overview. As you get more heroes, you'll see our Queen Saphira Goldheart is here. Click on her, you can inspect, show her city, but as you grow your empire and gain more heroes, they'll all be listed here. When you get a prison, you can see which prisoners you have, and then you have various options to do with the prisoners. And then the crypt is when you have killed, enemies, and their remains go to your crypt, which actually can be a decent source of income, as you can sell the remains, and then you'll get all of the items that hero possessed when you took them. Down here, you'll see this recruit 1 of 1. This is, you can recruit other heroes, but the 1 of 1, let's go back. The 1 of 1 tells you how many heroes you can have. So I have 1, that is Saphira, and then I can only have 1 right now. This tends to match how many cities you have. Moving on, the magic materials. This helps you see at a glance what magic materials you have at your disposal. You can obtain these by annexing a territory that contains the magic material, or through other methods such as trading or vassalizing other cities. One thing to note is each material has its own standalone bonus. So this focus crystals, this gives units 10% bonus experience. It's a global effect. Fireforged stone, unit cost 20% less draft. But if you get all 3 of these in this collection, your hero will gain 1 defense, 1 resistance, 10 bonus damage, which is pretty good because it's all heroes. It's not just 1. It's every hero you own. So if you have a large force of like 8 or 10 heroes, this could do well when you're doing bigger battles. Next is the city overview. As you gain more and more cities, you'll be able to see which each city contributes to your empire, along with what's currently being produced, which soldiers are being trained, and the sort. Additionally, you can jump to the cities by just clicking on it. See how it just kind of snapped there? And then here's where you'll see the production, and then here's where you'll see the soldiers being trained. And then these are the various resources this city contributes. This tab here is your armies. This is just seeing your armies at a glance. So you can see I got one army here, got another army here, and then this is just what they look like at a glance. And the number on the banner represents how many units are in said army. So 3, my main army, 1, 2, 3. 5 for the secondary army, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is just a quick overview of that. This is Rally of the Lieges. This we're not going to cover in this video. Just know it's here for when we reference it in the future. Above these tabs, you'll see a purple number. This is your knowledge, this guy right here. The higher the number, the faster your research will finish, and we'll touch on research here in just a little bit. This will make researching higher tomes happen faster. Next is Imperium. This is it's a crucial resource, and managing it can make or break your game, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. Next, we have Whispering Stones. You can do a lot with these. You can give them to a free city to build relationship, and then maybe eventually pull them into your empire, or you can just leave them as free cities as allies, and then they'll just protect you, or you can even use them as a buffer in some larger maps where you can't spread your armies all over the map at once. And then if you don't have any free cities available to give a Whispering Stone to, or if you've already maxed out your relationship with them and they've given you your Whispering Stone back, you can actually just give them to your own cities, and it helps with the city stability. The gray castle icon is your city cap. This is very important to pay attention to, because if you go over the cap, you incur economic penalties. It is not recommended to go over this cap. However, there are ways to increase this cap, and we'll discuss this more when the empire development becomes available after 2 turns. Across the top of your screen, you have your total gold and total mana. Smaller numbers here, denoted in green, are your income per turn for each resource. If it's green, it means you'll make that much per turn. If it's red, that means you'll lose that much per turn. Here, you have your world casting points, which will allow you to cast world spells each turn. Finally, in the bottom right, you have a globe with your avatar in it. If you hover over it, you can see some faction details that you were given at the start. You can see the turn, your alignment, your spells. So if you click this icon, you can see your active spells. You can turn these on and off to manage your mana as the battle goes on. Strategic, these are spells you can prep in advance and then cast them when the time fits you. And then tactical are battle specific skills, or spells rather. Then we have the advice button down here. If there's anything here, it'll tell you what the game thinks you should be focusing on. If you don't want this, or if something pops up and you want to ignore it, you can right click it, it'll go away. Here is the event log. Nothing as of yet, we're still in turn 1. I don't particularly use this, but other people seem to enjoy it. Then we have the end turn button. This can be used if you have if you don't want to use all of your available actions, whether you're being strategic or you're just waiting on something to finish. And then if you do have actions that are needed to be taken before your turn ends, you'll get some icons over here telling you what those actions may be. For example, this says set production in Tridale. Tridale is the name of our main city here. If you click it, it just snaps you right to it. and wants you to set the production. And then it will also tell you it wants to set research and move some units. So let's just get into the meat and the potatoes of the game. Now that the game has started and you're looking at your main city and a couple of your armies, what do we do? Let's start with setting production. You can either click the button over here, or since we already have the city menu open, you can hit build structure. And I personally like to start with the workshop and the storehouse. You'll see these take gold from your repository up here, and they take 6 turns based off your production limit here. One thing you can do to kind of get this going pretty quickly, you can hurry production. This will take the next thing that's in queue, tell you how much gold it'll take to hurry it to the finish line. And you can do this once a turn per city. I like to do this for the workshop because then your storehouse only takes 4 turns. And then you can see the vendor only takes 4 turns. Some of these starter ones take less turns to get them built. It gets you started pretty quickly. Now, we are low on gold now, but as you can see, we'll get 74 more in the next turn. Since we do have 70 gold left, I would suggest queuing up the vendor. It's only 60. And what can happen here is, as we go along, some random events will happen, or you can find resource nodes on the map, and maybe you get some production resource, and it'll actually finish these things in production quicker. So it's always good to have a couple, maybe even 3 or 4 queued up. Now, obviously, you don't want to take all of your gold when you're getting into battles constantly, because you need to be able to train troops. Now, obviously, right now, we don't have enough gold to do that, but we are in turn 1, no big deal. Then the next option here is to set our arcane research. I personally like the chaplain. I talked about this earlier, so we'll just click on it. Then up here, it'll tell you what's being researched and how many turns remaining. Finally, we have our armies. So 3 in our main army, 5 in our secondary army. But let's look at this unit right here. This is a scout. We want to click him and make him go off on his own. So scroll out, see what's available. We have some resource here, mana stash, another mana stash here. So let's tell the scout, so click him so that he's highlighted. Tell him to go get this mana node, or mana stash rather. And he's gotten it. Great. You can tell him to auto explore, but I wouldn't recommend this till later, probably turn 20 or so, once you've got some stuff around your city established. Let's go to our main army. You can see we can attack this NPC army right here. It's just 2 units, battle power of 100. Our battle power is 270, but if you highlight the enemy, you can see the red dotted line kind of going around. That is going to include up to 3 armies in any given battle. You can see it's got the main army, the secondary army that's right next to it, and it is even including the scout because it's within range. So we'll click on him. The battle's going to start. You'll see the bouncing banners for who's in the fight. If I don't want the scout in this particular battle, I'll just uncheck him, and you'll see he's no longer highlighted anymore. Now, the game is pretty good at auto battle and not killing off your units just because. So we'll do auto battle here. The enemies have died. We have taken some damage, nothing too crazy here. And we'll close. So we got some mana for defeating that enemy. Now we can actually move to fight this enemy here, still stating it's a safe battle, 431 to 230. So we'll right click it. You'll see the yellow right here means that we're going to heal that much after the turn is over. And we'll talk about that more after this. So let's auto battle again. I think we're going to be okay. Took some more damage. Nothing too crazy, but we won. Hit close. Oh, and then the arrow means we have leveled up. So we get another button, says your ruler is leveled up. Click on that. This is your hero menu, and you'll see it'll jump us right to the hero skills. I personally like my ruler to have Lord of War. This goes into the feudal culture that we chose earlier. Up to 5 heroes can be assigned a Lord of something. Now each Lord has a bonus granted to it based off of what you choose to whatever city that it's governed over. I like Lord of War for my main hero just because I use them to battle a lot. So we'll choose that. We'll hit confirm. We'll hit close. So we have done all of our movements, used all of our turns, or all of our actions within the turn. We'll just hit end turn. And you'll see down here, it looks like we have another quest. This just a free city thinks that we should be friends. Well, you can choose to not be friends with them if you don't want to. You can choose to leave them alone. I'm going to agree. I think this is beneficial. Free. And you'll see there is a gold chalice on the minimap. This is indicating where our quest is. So now we are in turn 2. Going to take our scout, look for more resource nodes. We've got some more mana over here. We'll just tell him to go over there. He'll get there next turn. You'll see this red area here. This is indicative of some sort of infestation. Probably a good idea to go there, check it out, see what's going on. What I like to do, I like to have my main army have at least 5 people in it. So we have a bannerman, an archer, our main person. She, sword and shield. She's kind of a tanky up front person. And we have a bannerman, archer. So we'll take pikeman, we'll take archer, and we'll just boom. There we go. Now we have 2 ranged support person for heals and 2 upfront fighters. I like this party makeup early on. It's very good for various types of fights. So we'll move. So here's the gold chalice. It looks like that is the city that wants to be. But we'll move over here towards the infestation. We'll move the other units with, just for the simple fact that fighting together, you'll lose less units per battle. This says an evil presence lingers in this land. This is the infestation. It'll tell you about it. It's going to spawn NPCs if we don't take care of it, so we'll just close this out. Nothing else we can really do. There's army heal. Well, let's prep it. So it'll take 1 turn to prep, and then we can use it whenever we need it. Still waiting on our storehouse to finish. We have a little bit of gold, so see what we got. We have pikemen, bannermen, and pikemen. So let's do. So in 2 turns, we'll have another archer. Turn. So it's kind of slow here at the start. Here it'll say our army heal spell is ready to launch. Wanted to use it, we would just right click, heal for 25 points. I don't feel like we need it right now. Take our scout, get the mana. Then we could bring him down here, get these mana nodes, but I want to explore this way a little bit and see what's kind of out here. So have him go that way. Take the bannerman, pick up this resource node. Oh, So they want us to give the Whispering Stone to the free city to form an alliance. So formally begin the relationship. And here it'll take us to the cross-wall city menu, and we can give them our one Whispering Stone to start negotiations. The pack of cooperation, they have open borders, and we can trade with them. So we will do that. We still have our healing spell. Still doing all right on life. So we'll take our main hero. Oh, looks like the Bannerman can actually move again. Take the resources. Now we'll go into the battle here. Again, 481 to 100, 2 tier 1 units. We have 2 Bannermen, which are tier 2, and 4 tier 1 plus our level 2 hero. Should be cake. Do auto combat. Yep, didn't suffer too many losses or too much damage there. And you'll see the pikemen have these bouncing icons here. This is for when they level up. So as they battle, they'll grow in strength. So they'll go from recruit, current rank is veteran, so they just leveled up to veteran. And so they have plus 8 life from where they started when they were. Elite will get 4 extra life plus some damage. Champion will get 4 life. And then if they hit legend, they'll get 4 extra life. Oh, this is actually an archer. I have misspoken. So they will get Eagle Eye, which is a skill. For the Bannermen, sorry, we'll go here. They too are veterans. They get some life damage as well at elite. And then at champion, they become a defender, which is a tier 2 shield unit. So they're beefier and they can take more damage. Close this. Infestation is over. We get an item. We get production. This kind of goes into what I was saying earlier, why we queue things up. So we just got 154 production. There's a good chance one, maybe both of our production items will finish when we hit take reward. Let's go back to our city. So it looks like it was a storehouse, I think, was here. Yep, the storehouse was here. It finished, and then the vendor is now down to 2 turns instead of the 4 that it was at. So this will finish much faster now. We have 98 gold. We'll queue up a library because we want to get this research going. Then in one more turn, the archer will join us. Need to heal. I don't think so. I think we're okay. Bannerman, we'll kind of leave them close just in case somebody attacks. There's our archer. Probably going to move down this way just to investigate, so I'll put the archer here. Move the Bannerman over. Main army. Close. That way, if one gets attacked, they can all kind of help each other. This is actually a bronze ancient wonder. We're not going to be strong enough to do this quite yet, so we'll just kind of leave it alone. There is an NPC army right here. Scout units. So them here in a minute. This tells us that we have produced an archer, and we can annex our first province. So what you want to pay attention to here, you always want to start with a farm of some sort. So this says farm income 5, and then you also get 10 from pastures. It's kind of denoted by the sheep here. However, it'll tell you it's a resource node for pasture at plus 10 on the food. Up here, you can see the gold vein. This will give you 10 gold regardless of what you choose. So you can kind of hover over, see what it's going to give you. So food and gold here, good combination. Here is gold in production. So let's start with the pasture just to get this. So here we can just choose whatever we feel is going to be best. I don't think we need gold at the moment. Let's do. See, we can get another province annexed here. We'll do another farm. We'll have farm for food and the gold mine. And so we'll just keep exploring and expanding for several turns until we're ready to build our second city. Here, the Empire development has opened up. This is where you'll see actually expand your city count. You can do this repeatedly. I've not hit a cap yet. I had 9 cities on map once, but we have 180 Imperium. This skill has opened up for us. Pacification, destroying an infestation or conquering a free city grants a stacking 300 relationship to all other free cities for 10 turns. This is very helpful if you're trying to build alliances with free cities. That, and we will continue. Here, the NPC army realizes it's outmatched, and you can just leave them in peace, go towards your alignment. You can fight them, goes against your alignment. See, they're not gonna win or probably do any damage to you, or you can, pay them off to join you. I personally, I'm just gonna leave them in peace. I just want the resources they're on. Select them, grab their resources, and we will move on. Here's another quest that popped up for us. We can fight these. We have various options here. We can pay gold, but it'll encourage attackers is active. It'll give us more morale until the end of the battle. We can use Imperium, do the same thing. It's going to use some gold since we have a touch of excess. That, and then we will auto combat. Probably shouldn't take too many. It took some damage, but not a whole lot. And we're going to continue. Oh, it looks like doing the quests, you'll get a reward. So we have some knowledge. We'll instantly finish the chaplain research. So it'll give us 113, which is almost 2 turns worth of knowledge. We can summon a magical artifact. It is a orb. That's a magical weapon. We don't use that, so we're going to probably skip on that. Mana or a gargoyle unit. Tier 2 shock unit. Units are pretty good, and this early on having a tier 2 could benefit us some, so let's choose that. Was absorbed into our main army. And we'll move on. This is one of the other rollers. It looks like she wants to talk to us. And we can choose to basically ally with them at this point in time. Or we can not. I'm going to choose to ally with them early on. Good to have an alliance so you don't get crushed by all of the rollers at once. We now have enough Imperium for some more empire skills, or I'm sorry, the diplomatic spell or another skill. This basic seafaring is really important when you have water on your map. We're gonna choose that because if you look over by our city, there is rather water. So take that and we'll use it. See, we have made a friendship with another ruler, so we can negotiate with them. None of the treaties are available yet. We're not high enough. Oh, it looks like it requires the wizard. So if we go here, do a wizard bond, it's going to cost us 200 gold. We have 400, so we're doing all right. Do the wizard bond. This will make it so we can become friends with them. We do open borders. We don't want to do that. Open borders is really down the road. All right, and we'll go back to it. Here you can see that we now have a pact of loyalty with Crosswall. It's going to share its vision so we can see the map a little more. Allows you to build on claimed provinces so you won't start a war with them. And they're going to reinforce us in combat against marauders and the ruler that you're at war with. And it tells you that pact of vassalage is next on the list. So keep giving, we'll leave them with the Whispering Stone and then just let this go every turn. Then it looks like the elf has approved of what we are doing. And they still want 200 gold, still a little steep for me, so say goodbye for now, and we'll keep going. So you can see we've cast an active spell, Faithful Whisper, so that our relationship goes 30% faster with the free city. And you can see that it costs 4 mana per turn. So this goes into our upkeep up here. It looks like we have continued to build our relationship with Crosswall. We can do Dude. Knights are pretty good. They're a tier unit, shock unit, very strong. Probably could benefit us here, or we could take some gold. I'm going to do this middle option. I like the food early on. It helps us expand rather quickly. Here, we are selecting a new tome because we have finished our other one. I am going to stay in the order tome, so Tome of Zeal is what's left. There's a couple pretty good buffs here. We could venture into like Tome of Roots, get an additional heal, or even Tome of Beasts, where we can get another unit. Hit with a So you can see as we increase our bond with this free city, they're going to give us income, shares magic materials, and that sort of thing. It looks like we've met another free city, and you can see I did get an additional Whispering Stone, so we can actually. Oh, must be the other ruler, and it looks like he is probably the main guy. Looks like here's the other city. Give them a Whispering Stone, start building that relationship with them. The Watchtower here, see what's going on, and we'll keep our scout there. And you can see as your territory expands, you can actually run across it pretty far. So you get way more travel than your own borders. The I'll show you what these are. Going to take our armies over here, take about 3 turns. Oh, here, I can just click on them. You can actually build a city for 100 Imperium, or you can dismantle it and just take over the node. We want to expand, and so we'll take these and then rebuild the city, and then we'll have our second city. It looks like this free city has actually declared war on us, so that'll be interesting. Let's continue. So here we can rebuild the city. It'll take 2 turns. So it looks like we can fully integrate this free city into our current empire. I don't see why not. That means we can have more heroes, bigger army, and we can do that. So let's proceed. We will integrate the city. All right. And just like our first city, we'll be able to continue to expand. So you can actually double dip on some of these resource nodes. Looks like the production is low, and there's also a mana node here. So if we do Ori, it's going to give us benefits to our mana and the production. So we'll set the production here. We will do the convent. This is a good start. And then we have gold, so we'll do the stone mason. City's been integrated. Whispering Stone's been released. Got some new development skills. 200 Imperium, and we can get another city. We're at 2 out of 3 right now, not our main focus. However, this did just unlock farms grant 5 more food. This will be a good next step. And so we'll just continue to grow. Oh, and each new city you'll need to assign Governor, which will be one of your. Speaking of which, let's see which hero we got. You can click on the army, right click on the hero, take you to the hero page. It looks like a horseback archer with the chestplate of vitality. So pretty good stuff here. And what we can do is we can actually move this person over to where our other army is with only 4 people and integrate them. Take this army, merge here. Now this is an army of 414 and our main army of 520. You can see this hero is level 4. Our main hero is only level 3. Continue to expand here. We're going to stay here for just a moment while the city finishes building. That way we can defend it. Alright, so our 3rd city has been built. We can instantly annex another province. This right here has the Astral Dew node on it. So you can see we can get 10 gold from the gold vein and mana from the Astral Dew along with 10 knowledge. So we have mana, knowledge, gold vein. And then we can even throw in some production and food into this as well. Looks like this only gives us 2 food for the hut, but we can do a forester for 2 food and 3 production. So we're actually getting a little bit of everything if we choose this. Here, it'll tell us Astral Dew acquired. We get 15 world map casting points, and this will be beneficial for when we get more spells to cast. Then we get a 3rd hero we can obtain if we have enough gold, which we do. The higher level units will be on the left, and then lower on the right, but you can inspect them, see what they got. So that is a mounted lance unit, mounted sword and shield unit, another mounted sword and shield unit, but he's level 3. Here you can see here, other one, which takes into account the. And this is just a great sword level 3. Let's take this guy just for the simple fact I think that they're pretty versatile. So they start back as your main city, and I'm going to move him down here. The rest of the army. We have all of these notifications. The city was founded. Got to set production. I like the workshop first, always. And then it needs a governor. And we'll use the new hero that we got as a governor. You can see this hero is assigned to Crosswall, and our main person is in our main town. So use him. It'll give us, some bonuses. And then we can actually annex another province for our main location. Let's do another farm, continue to grow. Got another tick research. And that's really the basics. At the beginning, you just explore, you expand, you watch your resources, and you try to kind of grow faster than the enemy. And you can see under the diplomatic overview, we were right. So overall, we're kind of sitting second behind our ally, but ahead of our enemy. So if we go to military ranking, the same actually. Expansion, the same. Magic, oh wow, it looks like it's pretty even across the board actually. Inactive Free City, this we integrated. This one we are at war with. They look to be allied with Yaka, who is our enemy. And then there are 3 different races that we've come across. But yeah, that's the basics. You just grow and expand, and you don't fight needless battles. Like here, we could fight them, take the fight to them, take them over. But yeah, that's the basics. You just grow, watch your resources, take out the NPCs, expand, and yeah, as you expand, you'll start fighting enemies. I'll fast forward a few turns, so we'll actually keep expanding, keep building our army, and we'll actually come down here and attack this free city. And here we are attacking the enemy city. We can start a siege. And it looks like it'll take about 2 turns for us to attack them. If you have some resources, you can add siege projects. I like undermining walls. This adds additional breaches at the start of combat. And I like harass defenders. Early on, those 20 hit points really make a difference. We'll hit close. And we're going to move our second army into range so that they too can join. So they've got a power of 327. We have 1102. So they've got a hero units. We have 2 full armies. And we'll wait a couple of turns and see how it plays out. You can see this turn, the armies they can move, but they by default don't move because they are attacking the city. Now the turn has come to where we can attack this city as a breach was made in the siege of the city. So you always want to keep research going. You always want your production going. That way you never get left behind. You can see in the overview, we've taken first place. Military, magic, expansion, magic, economy. So it is now turn 27. We are in the lead. Doing pretty good for ourselves. And we're going to go attack this free city. It won't let you auto battle. So we'll do attack. Oh, here we go. We can't auto battle. It's 1120 to 360. We'll do an auto battle, or I'm sorry, auto combat. See what happens. Took some damage, but we actually beat them. In our crypt, there are the remains of the hero that we defeated. And here you can see all the equipment that the hero has is gone to our arsenal. So sell the remains, chunk of money. And we get to choose what to do with it. So I would like to vassalize it since we're at our city cap. We'll vassalize it, get some more income, but also they will be a good buffer as you scroll out. You see our empire up here growing. Our ally right here is little chalice right here. I'm assuming is our enemy. we'll have to beat. So he'll have to march. You see these mountains here. It's going to take him a while to march over those. So he'll probably go straight through the vassalized city, and we can use them as a buffer. Again. And yeah, that's the basics. We could continue all the way through the end of the mission, but from here, I think if you just follow the steps that were outlined, take the advice, level up your heroes as needed. I'm sorry, battle so you can level up your heroes. You'll see these enemies just move. They know they're too weak. Some draft. Got a warg. Use the warg. We got a chest plate of vitality. You see how this stuff just starts stacking up. On the bottle, that's a skill. We won't go over that in this one. Items. And then if you hit these arrows, you can actually toggle between your heroes. Moralizing Mask is probably good for him. Nothing else. Mask of Precision, Accuracy, Defense. She's ranged. Good for her. This just adds to our combat strength here. But yeah, those are the tips and beginner tips that could be helpful to any new players. Some stuff explained on what's going on. I hope you found it helpful. Thank you for joining today. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.